honeys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be doing something different today. It is officially 2020. Today is January 1st of 2020. How was your guys' New Year's? I feel like my New Year's Eve was really chill. All we did was stay home, we ate, we had some wine, and literally watched the series of You. I think that's what it's called on Netflix. We watched season 2. It is so good. Me and my husband were like so in shock at the end because we're like, what the hell? Like, we did not see it coming. It was a really good season. We are here because starting off the new year, I know that a lot of girls are not really familiar when it comes to makeup. I feel like a lot of people tend to be a little lost when it comes to shopping for the right makeup product. So I did title this video a makeup tutorial for beginners because I'm going to be explaining to you guys everything, like literally from foundation all the way to brows. We're not really going to focus too much on eyeshadow at all. This is just mainly like a simple makeup look if you work like in an office or you are a front desk and you just want to look, you know, put together, but you want to show people that you know how to apply makeup, if that makes any sense. I will be giving you guys some tips and tricks along the way. Okay, so the first step, you guys, of your makeup application is just making sure that your skin is clean. So if you already have a really good skincare routine, then definitely do that. I personally do my skincare every morning and at night. Just for me, getting older, I already hit 30, so I'm being really careful when it comes to my skin now. And I feel like once I apply my foundation, my skin looks amazing. Step number 1 is your primer. Now, you don't have to use a primer. I know there's some people and some makeup artists that have said that you don't need to use a primer when it comes to your makeup application, but I personally feel better using a primer. The one that I'm using right now is the All Nighter primer by Urban Decay, and they recently launched this. It is a new product, and I like it because it's in a lotion, so it's not silicone. I don't like silicone based primers, me personally. It doesn't feel super dry. Even though I am on the oily side, I don't like my primers to be like have that silicone feeling. I really like a nice moisture, like, I don't know, refreshed feeling when I apply a primer. So for me, this was like the best. Step number 2 is your foundation. So for me right now, I'm doing everything backwards. I know that I normally do my eyes first, but we're not doing anything crazy, so I'm not gonna be worrying about any fallout. So I'm gonna start with my face first. So here's the thing when it comes to foundations, there's different types of undertones. So I feel like, me personally, I'm more under the yellow undertones, and there's girls that are more in the pink, more that are in the cool or warm. So it just depends on your undertone that you have. The best way to find out, you guys, is to actually go to your nearest makeup counter and have them check you and see which foundation best matches you. Another way to find what undertone you are, if you look at your arm and if your veins are a blue or purple, it means you're more on the cool tone, or if you have more green veins, that technically means you're more on the warm side. But definitely step into your local Sephora or Ulta and get color matched and see which color undertone you are. You never want to match your foundation to what the color of your face is. It's always your neck and chest. And so that's the way that I can find a foundation for me. I'll just go into Sephora or Ulta. I don't think Ulta has samples or like testers, or do they? No, I think they do. And I always like to take some on the palm of my hand and pick it up and then just color match it right here and see if it matches my neck or my chest. For today's video, I'm just gonna go into this one, the Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation. There is a few different types. So we have cream foundations, we have sheer, we have liquid, we have powder, and we have stick foundations. So the way that I like to apply it, you can either go in with a beauty sponge or you can even go into a makeup brush. Whatever you prefer, I feel like they both apply it very nicely. And for me, it just depends on what mood I am. Do I want a more fuller coverage? Then I'll go in with my brush. And this is the Morphe M439 or a beauty sponge. You can use whatever you want. I like to get them wet, not like soaking wet where they're dripping in water, but you want it a little damp. It spreads out evenly onto the skin rather than if it's dry, it only stays like in one place, and I feel like you're, you know, overworking yourself trying to blend the foundation. I don't like to have a full face of makeup. Especially with lash extensions, I wear a mask, so my makeup gets ruined anyway. So I don't like to go in with too much foundation. Just enough to really cover up my blemishes and to make me look more alive.
Okay, so for anybody who does have dry skin or mature skin, I feel like a cream foundation would be best for you. It does give you a medium to heavy coverage, but it does give you a nice soft and smooth skin. For somebody who is on the oily side, this will only make us look 10 times more oilier. So definitely stay away from cream foundations if you are oily. Here we have a sheer foundation, which makes the skin look more natural and it gives you a more lightweight feel. I feel like this is best for people who do have dry skin and also mature skin, because it really gives you a nice glow, but it also enhances your skin rather than making it look really cakey. It definitely feels way more comfortable, and it's also great for people who don't have a lot of imperfections. It's literally for those girls who have like nothing, like really good skin, and this is just going to even out your complexion. So that's my thoughts on that.
Also, if you want to make sure that you are applying the right color, you can also apply your foundation in front of a window to give you that natural light, or in front of like LED lights. I feel like that's like the perfect way to apply your foundation, because if you apply it in dark settings, I feel like once you go outside, you're like, whoa, my foundation does not match the rest of my body. Powder foundations are more for like oily to sensitive acne prone skin. It gives you more of a light to medium coverage. Some can definitely be medium to full, but I feel like for the most part, they're more light to medium. It does not cover up as much as a liquid or a cream foundation. It is honestly more on the healthier side, and it doesn't provide cakiness. So I feel like a powder foundation is also really good for mature skin. If that's definitely you, or you like a more natural look, then I could definitely see someone using that. If you don't want to feel like you have foundation on, then powder is definitely a really, really good option. Sometimes I'll even just apply powder if I am not in the mood to wear a liquid foundation, then I go in with a powder and I don't feel like I have anything. But again, it doesn't, like, I don't know, it just doesn't cover up what I want to cover, and I just feel like for me, the better option is liquid. Maybe I'll change my mind the older that I get, but for now, I like a good liquid.
Speaking about a liquid foundation, I personally, hands down, love a good liquid foundation. And honestly, it's like the most sold from makeup companies as of today. I just feel like personally a liquid foundation is more popular than the rest that I've just mentioned, because it covers up your flaws really well, and it also protects your skin. So some foundations and even CC cream, BB creams have a SPF in it, so it really does protect your complexion from the sun. But also a liquid foundation can also carry you know, heavy ingredients or chemicals. So just do your research on what foundation best fits your needs. But I personally love it because it just really gives me a nice even color to my face, and it just hides everything that I want to hide.
You can also try a stick foundation. That I feel like is more on the cakey side, and I personally don't like it. It's best for people who do have oily skin. I feel like for girls who do have dry, I feel like it makes them look more dry. I don't know, it's just my personal opinion and my experience that I've had when I used to use stick foundations. I feel like they're really great to cream contour, but not so much to apply concealer or as a foundation. So hopefully that makes a little sense when it comes to the different types of foundation that you guys can use or that they're out there in the market. So it definitely just depends on the finish that you want, and of course on your skin type. Now it's time for some concealers. So the best tip, you guys, that I can give you if you do have dark circles, I definitely say to stay away from any concealers that have pink in them. Just because when it comes to pink concealers and you have that purpley bluish undertone from your dark circles, it's gonna turn gray. So the biggest tip that I could say is stick to more concealers that have a yellow golden undertone. If you are not familiar with the color wheel, I will insert a picture here for you guys. So if you guys can see here where you see the purple and the blue, and then you go right across, what do you see? You see yellow and like gold yellow or golden undertones. So that is a concealer that you want to grab if you do have that issue. If you have really deep like dark circles, I definitely recommend to go in with a more like of a orangey concealer first and blend that out, and then go on top with your yellow golden concealer. And that's really going to help with those dark circles. So for today's video, I'm gonna go into the Born This Way by Too Faced Cosmetics. I love and obsessed with this concealer. Also, you want to make sure that you are using 1 to 2 shades lighter than your foundation, because if you go in with a concealer that is the same shade as your foundation, then it's really not going to make a huge difference. You know, the concealer is also used to make this under eye brighter, and concealers are also made to bring anything that you want come forward on your face. So I just like to apply some on my chin, on the cupid's bow, as well as on my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, and underneath my eyes. Now to blend it out, you can do 2 things. You can go in with a brush, you can even go in with a sponge. Me personally, I'm gonna go in with the sponge and start to blend this out. And the way that I apply my concealer is I always like to apply it mostly towards like a little bit closer to my nose, because with whatever we have right here, this product right here, we can blend it out and it goes outward like this. Best concealers for oily skin, I would definitely say the Tarte Shape Tape, KKW Beauty, the Maybelline Age Rewind, Too Faced Born This Way, the Urban Decay All Nighter Full Coverage Concealer, and then for my girls who are more dry, I definitely would say the Bye Bye Under Eye by IT Cosmetics, NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers. Maybelline Fit Me is also a good fit, as well as the Instant Age Rewind, KKW Beauty L'Oreal True Match Concealer. So now it's time for setting powder. For me, setting powder is super important since I am combo to oily. What powder does, you guys, is allows to set your skin, and it also allows to tone down any like oily or any like shine that's peeking through the skin and you want to make it more matte. So there's 2 ways you can apply the powder: with your beauty blender, which is the one that you've been using for this entire process, or a brush. So for during the week, I don't want the powder to be super like cakey, like the baking method. If I'm not going to be going in like that. Now I do bake under my eyes and everywhere else if I'm doing like a very full coverage type of glam look, but you can also bake if you want something natural too. But for me, I'm only going to brush it all over my face because I want something more subtle. Powder that I am going into is from Maybelline, and this is the Shine Free Loose Powder. This is the one that I am currently using, and I am literally obsessed. Brush in there like this. There's also different types of powders, you guys. We have this one, which is the loose translucent powder, which is really fine and very light on the skin. There's also some powders that can be really heavy. Pressed powders are more opaque, and I feel like they're a little bit more on the heavier side. So with pressed powders, I technically like to use them if I'm doing a really heavy glam, and I like to set the under eye with that. But when it comes during the week, I try to stay away from pressed powders because I feel like it can be a little bit too cakey. There's also iridescent powder, which is more glittery. So if you are oily, I try your best to stay away from that. I know that Laura Mercier came out with an iridescent powder, and you can set your makeup with that too, but it leaves you more on the glowy, dewy side. So for me, I'm just picturing if I am combo to oily, I feel like it wouldn't be a good powder for me to set my makeup, just because I feel like maybe like in an hour or 2 I would get oily. For people who do have dry skin, I feel like a powder like that would be so pretty. Ooh, now it's time for my favorite part, which is bronzer. Bronzer, you guys, is seriously everything. If you guys like bronzer, please give this video a big thumbs up. I don't know what my life would be if we didn't have bronzer. Now let me tell you why I like bronzer so much. It's because right now, as you guys can see, my face looks super flat. Like it just looks, the por si, I have a round face shape. So I feel like for me, bronzer does wonders and it makes me look slimmer and more skinny. I love a good matte bronzer. There's different types of bronzers. We have cream, we also have liquid. So we have different types. I personally, when it comes to bronzer, you can use a shimmery one if you want as well, but I like to go in with a matte first. The reason why is because I've done the mistake once of using shimmery bronzers that when I place it on this area of my cheek, during the day, as my day is going, I feel like this starts to look really shiny and greasy. and that's because you are using a shimmery bronzer. So the difference between cream contour and a bronzer, you guys, is really simple. When it comes to cream contour, that when you are applying that, you're being really specific on where you want that because you want to hide and minimize that area. Bronzer, that's just giving you a nice glow within. It's just like I mentioned before, like you just came back from vacation type of glow, and you're not really being super precise on where you are applying it. I feel like with a bronzer, you're normally just like, oh, I just want a little bit of color, you know, and I want to look alive. But for me, for today's video, you guys, I'm going to go into the City Bronzer in the shade 200 from Maybelline, and I'm using my Sigma Large Angled F40 Contour Brush. Of course, use code Sandy for 10% off, and I will link everything down below. Also, when it comes to my bronzers, you guys, I don't like them to look, I just stay away from anything that is really orange or really, really red. Now, the reason why is because it totally depends on your skin tone. I, again, am more under the yellow, but I am also very fair sometimes. So I don't like my contour to look really dirty. So for an example, here is the Anastasia Beverly Hills light to medium contour palette. The cool thing, you guys, of some brands is that they do have a light to medium, medium to dark contour palettes. So it totally depends on your skin tone. But for me personally, if you guys can see the palette here, I like to go into the shade Fawn because that is a little bit more on the lighter brown and gray tone family. So I don't like mine to look too orange or too red. But of course, it just depends. When I am self-tan, I do like to go in a little bit deeper, but I just want to post a picture here so you guys can kind of get the idea. So if you are more fair, then I would definitely say to stick to something more on the lighter brown. That way it avoids you looking very orange and just really harsh. I like to go ahead and take it towards like this, my sideburns right here, and hit the ear as well. So that way it is all blended and it looks really seamless and that you didn't miss any spots, and you want it to look as natural as possible. And then on the sides of your head, and then I do like to take it into my brows like this, just with whatever I have left on the brush. And then I take it towards my forehead. Now you want to get it as close to the hairline so that way it all blends in. So for blush, I am going to be applying a matte blush. Now, there's different types of blushes, you guys. We have cream, we have liquid, we have powder, and we have shimmery blushes. So for me personally, I like to go in again with more of a matte blush. The one that I'm using is from Sigma, and it's the Aura powder. So I'm just gonna go into my Luxie tapered highlighter brush, but I like to use it mostly for my blush. You just want a blush that won't enhance your pores. So if you apply a glittery blush and you are oily, your cheeks will look like a disco ball literally on your cheeks. If you are dry skin, you can either go in with a matte or a shimmery, but I feel like a cream blush is like perfect for people who do have dry skin. I feel like it looks really dolly and it looks really, really pretty. But also keep in mind, you guys, you can wear whatever you want. In makeup, there's no rules. It's totally up to your own personal preference. And if you don't care if your pores are peeking through, then girl, wear that glittery blush. It's really up to you. Also, so really quick, you guys, if you are more fair, light skin, then definitely the more cool pink undertone blushes would best fit your skin tone, like a soft pink, light coral, or a peach. So sometimes if you want a pop of color, then I would definitely say go with the more of a peach corally blush shade if you are more light to fair. And for all my girls who are more tan to medium skin tone, I definitely say try a nice warm mauve color, or you can even still wear peach. A nice dark deep peach looks really beautiful on the cheeks, or a nice rich pink, but nothing too light because it does make you look washed out. So you do want something more with warmth in it. And for my girls who are more on the deeper complexion, I personally think a reddish brown, dark pink, a darker peachy orange blush, or a plum purple blush. Does that make sense? I think that these blush colors look amazing on deeper complexions. You can also grab whatever you have left on the blush, on the brush. You can just hit the tip of your nose, a little bit on the forehead and on the chin. And I just like how it just looks really, really pretty and youthful. Now it's time for highlight. I normally don't go in with highlight, to be honest with you guys. Sometimes, yeah, if I feel really sassy, you know, and I want that extra glow, For the most part though, I don't really go in with too much highlight unless I'm posting on Instagram and I really want that highlight to show. The way that I like my highlighter is I also like it to be blended really fine. I don't like anything that is like really chunky because it really does accentuate my pores, and that's something that I definitely do not like. I like a really nice fine powder as a highlight, if that makes any sense. So the one that I can show you guys here is from Urban Decay. This is their Stay Naked Threesome Bronzer, Highlight, and Blush. So I'm gonna show you guys here. Look at the highlighter. It is really fine. It kind of looks creamy in a way, but those are the type of highlighters that I like to use. There are two different brushes that you can definitely use. You can use one like this that kind of looks like an eyeshadow brush. This is the Artist Couture AC03, which personally I like to use more to apply my highlighter. Or you can also use a fan. Literally, seriously, neighbor? Really? Or you can also use a fan brush. This is also the Artist Couture AC01. I like to use either or. I feel like it really depends on the mood that I'm in. But for the most part, I always notice that I go in with a brush that looks more like this. Just the tip of the brush. And then I just like to apply it right here on the sides of my face. You see, it just looks really like, I don't know, like glowy, but it doesn't look too cakey or too like thick, you know what I mean? So there's different types of textures of highlighters. So we have powder, we have liquid, cream, stick, and a spray. So remember you guys that highlighter, as you guys can tell, it's anything that's gonna make you look really glowy. So that I feel like it's totally up to you. I have girls that were really prone to acne and still like to wear highlight, and I also had girls who were oily who also like to use highlight. So I just feel like it's totally up to you, but just remember that anything that you apply, anything that has glitter or glowy to any texture skin or acne, it will bring them forward. So just an FYI, but we all know and we all love a good highlight. I did do this eye off camera because my camera was dying on me. Brows is what makes you look awake. So you guys can tell I don't have no brow product on this brow right here. On this one, of course, I do, and I love to use a brow pencil. So now there is different types of brow products. We have the pencil, we have the pomade, we have the powder, we have brow gel. So there's different types of ways that you can do your brows. Definitely for me, I feel like during the week a brow pencil is definitely the way to go because it doesn't look as harsh, it looks more natural. So the pencil that I'm using today, you guys, is the Kat Von D Signature Brow in the shade Graphite. So it's just black. So what I like to do is just brush my brows, and then I will start to fill in my eyebrow. Now I don't want to go too much in depth to how I do my brows. I just literally only underline my brow and then I start to fill it in. So for anybody who does have oily skin, what I've experienced in the past with doing makeup, I've had clients that were like super oily. And when someone is really oily like that, or if you personally sweat when it comes to your brows, I definitely recommend, if you like a pomade, I definitely recommend to go in with a pomade and then set with a brow powder, as well as with pencil. So I normally would work with pencils a lot, and if somebody was really oily, I would set with a brow powder or an eyeshadow. I feel like a pomade is perfect because it is waterproof and it lasts a lot longer. Also, with highlight, I didn't apply it down my nose or on my forehead or on my chin at all, which are the areas that normally people apply their highlight. But I feel like for me personally, I don't like to apply it during the week. I feel like it looks really greasy and oily, especially because I don't have a full beat face. Like I have more of a natural look. I am only going to curl them and apply mascara, and that's pretty much it. I don't go in with eyelashes unless it's Friday and I feel a little extra and I want to look more awake. Then I will apply some really natural lashes, like the Ardell Wispies. For mascara, I'm just going into the Voluminous Waterproof by L'Oreal. It's definitely a really good mascara. It's waterproof too, so it will not smudge or spread all over my eyes. It literally lasts all day. Now the last step is to apply a gloss. So you can go into a gloss or a matte liquid lipstick. I personally like to go in with a gloss. I'm going into the Buxom Creamsicle, and this is their full-on plumping lip creams. I love them. They give me a nice tingly sensation while they are on my lips, and I feel like it really works to make them look more plumpier. And last but not least, we're going to add some setting spray. So I've been using the All Nighter Ultra Matte Setting Spray by Urban Decay. This is brand new, so if you guys are familiar with their All Nighter setting spray, it's the exact same thing, except this one is ultra matte. So this one's definitely gonna help keep your makeup on for a very long time. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit. Alright my honeys, so that is pretty much it for today's video on this very natural, simple makeup look that I would wear for the week. It's just a really little video for my girls who are just starting to apply some makeup and don't know where to start or what to buy or what to look for, especially for the type of skin that you have. So I hope that all of these tips that I provided do work for you, and I hope that your next shopping experience is way funner than what it normally is. So with that said, I love you guys so much. Besitos, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye!